Well, morning. Just taken delivery of my Range Rover Evoque boot power lift kit from Carroll Chan over in China, and I've got to say, here it is, very, very well packaged up. I'm just going to open it up now, and this could take me some time looking at how well it's been all wrapped up. So I'm going to leave that bit just there and then show you the kit once I've got it out of the box. Okay, so I've got the kit all out of the box, and it was very well packaged up, even inside the box as well, all nicely protected. So what have we got in the kit? First of all, we have the foot motion sensor if you want to use it to open that. I'm not sure I'm going to fit that, but we'll see how we get on. A load of zip ties, a wiring kit, the actual control module itself, some instructions where they could be interesting, loads of sticky pads, the push button boot control tool for making the holes for things, which I'm quite shocked about, but I have that myself anyway. There's the actuator for the boot to give it the soft close, etc., to pull it down. Obviously replaces the original latch and its control bit there, and of course the two struts, converting them from normal hydraulic to the electric on there, and all the wiring and everything. So far looking good. We'll see how it goes when it comes to fitting it. So I've just done a test wiring just to make sure everything all plugs up all right, and to see how it all connects, work it out before you start ripping your car apart and put it in. It's really simple really. They've done a great job on making every single plug colour coded, and obviously types where only one plug can go in one way, so it is kind of idiot proof. So starting on this left hand side, we've got the power feed. So you've got at the end of the wire obviously your live, which goes into the fuse box in the boot and replaces it with one of those T-in fuses. And then there's the ground on here. Now, these obviously come with connectors on because you've got to pass this wire all the way through the rubber gaiter from the boot, where the unit goes, as in the tailgate lifter part, down into the actual boot space. So I'm going to actually cut these off, both this and the ground spade, and then when I've passed the wire through, I'll actually do away with this connector and just solder those two wires together with a bit of heat shield on it, rather some heat shrink, and put a new spade on there. You've got the next ones are the two blue ones, which are your left and right electronic boot lid raisers that replace the gas ones. Then you've got the grey connectors here, which go to the boot latch mechanism, that suction thing that replaces the lock on the edge of there. This one here, the next one along, this is the one that, so it's the black one there that tees in. This tees into your existing wiring that's in the tailgate, and then the final one here goes in the signal 2, which is white, but it's obviously only designed that those two holes and plugs are different, and that one goes to your switch that will go in the tailgate for triggering it. Not quite sure what goes in signal 1. Yeah, I'll have a look at that when I've got it all opened up. So looking at what goes in the signal 1 port here, the white one, because there's none of the wiring that comes with the kit, looks to go to that. Quite simply, on the top of the diagram here, it's on top of the box rather, there's quite a good little wiring diagram, and it's item number 6, which shows us front switch. So that'll obviously be the switch on the driver's dashboard that opens the tailgate. So I'm hoping that when I open all the tailgate up and the boot and strip it all out, that there's a wire that feeds that lock that will plug into that port. We'll see. I'm not convinced, but we'll see. So I started fitting the power kit onto my Evoque, which obviously, as you can see, blank, no button, normal gas struts, etc. There is no electric boot on it. So first things first, obviously taking out the boot liner, etc., taking out the fuse box bit there, removed this trim that goes across the latching mechanism. What I've done is put some tape on and marked it, so centre of the lock, and also along a line there where the locking mechanism is, so that when you fit the new locking plate here, which is actuator to pull down, that you can align it to be roughly the same place. Therefore, when the boot latch catches it onto it, that it will nicely line up as it should when the boot is shut, like that. So it'll still follow that nice same line there. Okay. So the first step is to fit the soft close actuator boot plate. So I've removed the 2 Torx and the original Land Rover catch plate off of there. It's going to be spare and put aside. While I'm here, I've popped the seal off and removed the Torx screw out of here and pulled this cover free so that I can get down into here to run the wires, fit the actuator somewhere in there, I've got to secure it, and obviously there's going to be some wires that have got to go up in here, up in there, through and up into the roof. There's an airbag in there, so I don't know about popping that off, we'll have a little look, but I have to get through, so I've got to take this plastic trim off first, and I need to pop this rubber out at both ends, both the boot end and that end, and out of here I've got to pass 2 wires through that rubber tube. It's going to be interesting. So to get the wires through this rubber tube that goes between the body of the car and the tailgate, I've removed it from this end and I've removed it from that end. You can probably see down in there, obviously then you're into the cavity of the body of the car, which you can get to by reaching in here for the wires to come through. And this one's really tricky to get out. I removed this earth strap from across here first, then with just a big flat-ended screwdriver was able to pop it up. I'm now going to cover up and spray all inside of here and inside this tube with some silicone spray, ready for me passing some sort of draw wire through, because I've got to get 2 wires through that from the bottom to the tailgate. Could be fun. So I've removed the plastic trim from the inside of the tailgate. This is it here in my hand, and you can see that that is obviously where the switch for opening and closing it's going to go on there. So the unit itself will, the control unit will fasten to here, all the connectors will come in here, then here's the 1 wire where the white T-piece will go. Can't see any wire from that front switch as I suspected, so I'm hoping that the front switch will work because of this latch control on here. We'll find out. Yeah, unit will go here, that's the T-piece wire there, and 2 struts will be replaced, the wires will run through to each of those, each side, and the 2 wires have got to go down here, all the way down this blooming cavity here, which is, it is a trim, but I might try and thread that to get them out to here, then through the rubber tube and down in there. To get the wires through the tailgate itself, luckily I have some huge long black zip ties, tie wraps, whatever you want to call them, and I've managed to pass it from this end up, poke it out to there. Look, sorry the sunlight blinding it, where is it? There's it moving. So I can now attach the 2 wires to there to pull them down, to at least get them from here down to here. Then I've got to get them through there. First schoolboy error. The connectors for the actuator, the boot latch part, has a huge plug on this end. So obviously that end attaches to the actuator end, which is down there, look. And therefore I've got to get these wires up into the tailgate, these 2 end plugs up and through that way, and obviously I can't go the same way as I'm bringing the power one down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the power one down first and bring that up and meet in the middle and hopefully get them right. So I've got my boot latch actuator wire, ran up and through there, and here it comes out here and the end all taped up. I've got my power feed threaded down and round there, now ready to go through the rubber gaiter. I've got this zip tie ready through the rubber gaiter to pull them. So what I'll do is I'll pull the bigger plug end one, these, through the rubber gaiter first from this way with this tie, then using this wire I'll pull plenty of slack through, then I can just attach the power feed to this, just pull it back enough just to get it through. But what I'm also going to do, I'm not sure if I'm going to use the boot foot sensor, but that comes with the green trigger wire, which will, if I use it, be connected to the switch that opens or closes the boot on the inside latch here. So while I'm here messing about with all of this lot, I will run this green wire, the trigger wire, through to that, just in case. Ladder is up, eyes are in for the power and the actuator thing, and also the green wire that I've run in for the boot sensor switch, foot wavy sensor thing, should I use it. Running through, all the way through the rubber gator, into the other end, back through, all put back together, nice and tight. I think this one's a bit of a bugger to get at, but it's in. And then the wires are run down and they're in here, ready to rock. Yay! Before putting the struts on, I've shut the boot just to see where it is alignment wise with that catch that I've, obviously the suction cup as they call it, the actuator catch, and I think that's probably a bit too tight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen it off to bring it out further to allow for the pull in, because I can always adjust it more in the long run. Be better to be safe than sorry. Next step then, I've put this all back together, threaded the wires down, just not quite finished trimming off here with the seal back on. But if you remember, I was going to cut the power feed because it makes it so much easier to thread through without the connectors on. So here I've refitted a new spade connector for earth onto that one. Didn't like having the other connector in here, it's just another place where it can come undone or go faulty or whatever. So I've soldered the two wires together to the fuse spare one, and heat shrunk those down, double layering it just to be safe. Having just checked with my multimeter here, let me just pop it in for you, hopefully you should see it. It's hard to do this with one hand. They recommend that the one you're going to use to put the feed onto is this bottom fuse here, which as you can see is the 12-volt one there. Now obviously do not connect this is the last thing you do, don't put the live feed on until you're finished, because I've now got to do the control unit up there and fit the actual struts. I've left the struts till last. It says do the struts earlier, but I figured do the struts last, because while these gas ones are working and in, they're holding the boot all open. I'm going to literally mount the unit, have everything plugged in, all but the struts, the electric struts, then do the final step of fitting the electric struts, popping the wires through into the boot space, plugging those in, and then I'm ready to rock trying it. Going pretty well. Oh yes, and I also, the latch control actuator, the little motor, that's all plugged up now, the wires are tucked down in there, and I've secured that onto this bracket that holds this relay here with some zip ties just to keep it nice and tidy and tucked away in there. So far looking good, pleased with it. So it's now time to replace the gas struts with the electric ones that are still in the box here. I would have thought that one strut would hold the weight of the tailgate while you swapped it, but having just popped the little clip out a bit, pulled this end off, instantly the tailgate drops with one strut, won't hold it. Tried the other side thinking maybe this gas strut's on its way out, but it's the very same on that side as well, so clearly a single strut won't hold the weight of your tailgate. So I've just grabbed a cane from my young lad's fishing net, which I'm going to pop in there, not on the glass. I'll put it there when I take the weight off, just to pop it there or something, just to take the weight of the tailgate while I put the first strut on. So the right strut popped on very easily, just push them on like you would a gas one. Now I've got the wire, the connectors here, and a nice gaiter there. Removed the rubber plug bung that exists in the tailgate. Got to pass these through into here and run them along to where the control unit will go when it sits there. Control unit's now fitted with its double-sided sticky tape, which is velcro-y. You can pull it back off again if you need to. Now connected all the wires, so the power, the left and the right and everything. The only wire that's missing is the one for the tailgate switch, which will be on this trim cover here. So the tailgate switch I've fitted into the trim cover ready. Now I noticed when you pop this in that these little metal clips on the back of it here don't come all the way through, and it's very flimsy. It will just literally drop back out again. So just with the screwdriver I put it in and just levered them slightly to pop them out. Now it's held in good and proper. So plug this one in, pop this trim on. Well, tidy up all this excess wire. They definitely leave you plenty of wire. And I tidied that all up and took it up into there. And of course this green wire that I'll be using for the foot wave sensor. Tidy those and pop them in this cavity here. Put this cover back on, plug in the fuse, and we should be ready to go. Fingers crossed. Switch wires on, now plugged in into signal 2. All the wires are in, tidied up with zip ties tucked into that space. I'm now going to pop this cover on and then power it up and see what happens. Whoa. Oh, one other thing I have done is I've seen on a number of forums people moaning about the control unit, how loud the buzzer is. So there's a little speaker holes there, so I've covered it over. I'm sure you'll still be able to hear it, but hopefully that will keep it a little bit quieter. Everything all wired up. This panel's just not quite fully clipped in yet. When I first tested it, it wouldn't work. Each time I press this button it would just beep and do nothing. I had to force it shut because this actuator had triggered. Climb inside the car, pull the fuse out, put it back in again, and whatever, and then put it back in, and then it allowed me to open it and do it. Then I've pushed it fully open, pressed and held this button for the 5 seconds to do the learning of where the tailgate should stop, because it did, when it first started working, would only open halfway then stop and go back down again instantly. So I had to literally get the wife to come out and push the button to open the boot from the outside, and when it got halfway open I had to pull the fuse. Then it lifted up the rest of the way, and then I could do it into its reset mode. So now it's all fully working. Just quickly show you, quick push of the button. With the soft close, and then I can either push the button on the underside of the boot or with the key fob, because I've got the key fob that's got the boot release, and away she goes. And I'm glad I put the sticky tape over the control unit, because you can still hear it beeping quite a bit. Looking good. Now to put the rest of the trim all back in, finish off. Thank you. As I predicted, this latch does pull it in quite hard with the suction thing that does the soft close, and I was wise to leave it. First of all, stepped forward, and when the boot shut, it stood a bit proud of the bumper. It allowed for it. Now I've adjusted it so that when the bumper shuts, it shuts nicely, flush with the edges. I should say. So it's nice and level now. Really pleased with it. Now to put this last little bit of trim on, put the layer back in the boot. Yeah, job's a good one. Really pleased with it. Well done Carroll Chan for the excellent power tail lift kit. Really chuffed. Thanks guys, bye.